Some of the questions I'm going to go through today is, what is the Onement? Why and when did I start the Onement? How will the Onement actually help people? Like, how can it help you? And what's it going to teach? What's it going to do? And does it cost money? Another question. What can people do to share and actually participate in the Onement? And then what's the future plan of the Onement? And so I'm going to tackle each one of those questions right now. I have no idea how long this will be. All right, here we go. My name is Gavin Weber, and this is the first Onement podcast. You might be watching this on YouTube. Welcome. You might be listening to this on your device on some, through Apple or whatever. And on that note, I'm going to just share right off the bat. I have no idea what in the world I'm doing, right? I have, in this moment right now, I don't know how to put this on a podcast. I know that I want to have things on YouTube and I want to have things on a podcast. So the verbal audio of this, I will do my best not to have too many visual things. And if there is something visual that you're watching in a video, I'll try to describe it also. And on that note, I'm in my garage right now. So we have this side garage. My kids are homeschooled. And it's, there's just so much going on in the house. Okay, OMG. Obviously, I was nervous because my kids are not homeschooled. They are going to school at home because of a pandemic. They're not homeschooled. I don't know why I said that, but I wanted to make it clear real quick that they're home going to school by the results of the pandemic and how rigid it is in Southern California. Okay, we continue. This is fake, like most things in the world. Things aren't at what they appear to be. It's a piece of paper of a brick wall. So if you're listening to this, it's a white brick. This table, if you can see this, that it looks like it's a wooden table. It is a it's basically a fold-up table I bought, and then this sticker fake wood to make it look like wood because I wanted it to make it movable, right? So nothing in here is what it appears to be, which will kind of be a lot of the topics that we'll talk about. Yet, I just thank you so much for being here. I am excited about this. I have no idea where this is going and what the Onement will be, or even this podcast. I know that I wanted to put it on YouTube because I listen to YouTube videos all the time when I'm driving, almost like a podcast. So, this is designed. I have other videos that are very visual, but this is designed when you're walking, when you're driving, jogging, to be able to listen to rather than, watch. You're not going to miss much watching. But if you like watching videos and having voices with that, no problem too. All right. So you'll hear from time to time, my neighbors' dogs bark all the time. And they just started barking right at the beginning of this, and that's just the way it goes. But what I've done is I've watched a lot of podcasts, watched a lot of videos, and a lot of the time they, ask questions and there's interviews. And I think I'll be doing interviews too. And, I'll be doing a lot of videos by myself too. And so what I thought would be cool and what I feel like I've been guided to do is come up with questions beforehand, not be prepared at all to answer those questions, and just come from spirit. And that's one of the things that I want to share with you. And this feels weird publicly stating this, but I feel like I'm being guided to do the Onement, to do this podcast. When I say I have no idea what to expect, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that like ideas are presented to me and in my mind and thoughts. And if it feels right, I'm acting on that. And for a few weeks now, it's been like, you got to do a podcast and do it with YouTube and on listening devices for people. So here I am. Some of the questions I'm going to go through today is, what is the Onement? Why and when did I start the Onement? How will the Onement actually help people? Like, how can it help you? And what's it going to teach? What's it going to do? And does it cost money? Another question. What can people do to share and actually participate in the Onement? And then what's the like future plan of the Onement? And so I'm going to tackle each one of those questions right now. I have no idea how long this will be, coming from my heart. And sometimes I'm going to say like we, because it's like this mesh of like spirit that I feel like guided, but I still feel like I'm in this body and talking to this camera right now. And in that process of what that looks like, oneness. So I'll sometimes talk, go back and forth like I and me and then we. Just know that's where I'm coming from. So what is the Onement? The Onement is, in essence, a oneness movement. And, really, I almost looked up the definition of, like, I wonder what, Webster's dictionary says the definition of oneness is. And like right away, like my mind, like the spirit was like, really, Gavin, you're going to read a definition and a dictionary to try to do, describe oneness. And so I was like, okay. But I feel like oneness is, very similar to like trying to describe love. And like I'll be talking a lot about Course in Miracles, because that's been one of my greatest mentors, teachers, spiritual learnings, knowledge, all the things that I could never understand before. I feel like I'm starting to understand through A Course in Miracles. Yet A Course in Miracles kind of describes like, love can't be shared in words. It can't just be, like taught. It's like an experience within the mind to know itself. And I feel like love and oneness are not synchronistic, like the same thing. They coexist. They're different words of the same thing. And it's all encompassing. Oneness is like the all, that the idea that we're all one, that we're all love, that we're connected to God. And if God's a difficult word for you, which it used to be for me, then you're connected to the universe. You're connected to like, the idea of like, one mind and the vibrational energy of it all, right? There's so many different words that describe that. And words are usually synonymous with past thoughts and feelings. And so sometimes when people say things like Holy Spirit or Jesus or God, like there's this like connotation that comes with that then automatically makes them judge that as like something that feels good or feels bad, or it's like something they're interested in. And I would urge you to, like pay attention to that and caution yourself to think like, oh, like I already know what this is and I want to be a part of it, or I don't want to be a part of it, or like making those judgments. Like just allow things to unfold and open your mind up to new possibilities. You're here in this moment, on this planet too, but in this moment, listening, watching this for a reason. It's no accident. Like you're trying to remind yourself of something that like you think you've forgotten, but you haven't. So back to oneness, it's unity. And it's the idea that we are not separated. We all, hook, line, and sinker, feel like we're these bodies and drudging around and like to-do lists and bills and, success and goals and careers and family and relationships. And the list goes on, right? And we get caught up in that, the illusion of that. And then we think that's what's real. And the idea of oneness is that like none of that, I know this is very deep, I'm not going to go too far onto this tangent right now, but none of that is, true. This is all something we're making up. and that we're one mind, we're one spirit, we're still at home with God. And this is a projection of our belief that we're not. And oneness is teaching, reminding, helping people remember their truth, who they really are, and to then experience that so that they get to understand their truth and who they are, and not experience the illusion of fear and the illusion of separation and the illusions of have to or need to or lack or anything like that. So the oneness, the oneness movement, the Onement, is to help guide people on that path. And I've been on this journey for a long time. I'm not going to sit here and say I've got it all figured out. I struggle, and I'm going to share that. I'm going to be transparent. That's why I started off this video as like, I'm not going to act like something that I'm not. You're going to know where I'm at on this oneness journey. And, this goes into the next question. Why and, when did I start the Onement? Why? To be perfectly upfront, I don't have many, I have good friends, wonderful people. I don't really have many people that I could just pick up the phone, go have a cup of coffee. If I'm being honest, I don't know if I can think of one right now that like I could just go have a cup of coffee and start talking A Course in Miracles with them. That isn't like, that isn't like a distant friend, and that wouldn't be surprised for me, calling them. Have a wonderful relationship with my wife. She believes in oneness. A Course in Miracles is not her thing, which I completely honor, and that's totally fine. But it's not a subject that I have a discussion with her. So where I'm going with this of like why the Onement is, I know there's other people out there that want to learn what oneness is, to want to reconnect with God and their truth and understand like how can they like experience love, and how can they live their life from love and not fear. And they don't know how, and they don't know other people. And I want this to be a community, a mass movement, whatever that looks like. I don't have an attachment to how many people that may be, but a place people can go and kind of learn and remember who they are and connect with other like-minded people who want to do that same, and not want, like I used to be this big, like, I'm going to go change the world. And like, my thing now is like, I'm just trying to change my world, because like, I understand it's my perceptions that are like causing what I'm thinking is happening in the world. And like my feelings and my judgments and my thoughts are all like causing all of this. So like, I'm looking to change my world. I'm looking to connect with other people in the world and to join and to do this together. So I might be the name of Gavin Weber that started the Onement, but this is way beyond me. This is way beyond any credit that I could get. I'm following the guidance. I'm following the intuition. I'm following what the Course in Miracles would call the Holy Spirit. And I'm allowing that guidance to unfold, whatever it looks like, without, worrying about what anybody thinks. Okay. Now, when did the Onement start? I started the Onement like 11 years ago. And on my webpage, theonement.com, which I highly recommend you go read, there's a great blog post, and I've done another video on that too. And I'll let you, go watch that, go read that for like the full story, because it's pretty fun. But the short of it is, I had this idea a long time ago. And in 2008, we moved to San Diego from Indianapolis, Indiana. And then the market crashed, and I had a sales job. I was in timeshare because I didn't have anything else what to do. And it did kind of suck, but it did pay the bills. And eventually there was a time that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so my wife was like, okay, I understand. And I had the idea of like, I'm going to start like this. I want to like, what am I about? I'm about like oneness and about love, and kind of the same sentiment. I wanted to learn that, but my mind immediately was like, okay, how am I going to pay bills, support a family of 3 kids at the time were like 1, 3, and 5. I mean, and I get to go do this oneness movement. And so my idea was like, I'm gonna sell T-shirts. Like I know, like that company is Life is Good. Yeah, I think it's Life is Good. And they had done so well. I was like, I'm gonna sell T-shirts. And so I would go to like farmers market. The internet like didn't do as much selling T-shirts back then. Go to farmers market, street fairs, all this stuff. And I was out there blissful, like, oh man, like the one that I had these signs. I had a couple other business partners at that time. Not doing that this time because I'm just running with it and just going with, in the moment. And whoever wants to participate can. But I loved it. But financially, I was crashing. I mean, we had lots of bills. It's Southern California. It's expensive. And, my wife was just kind of like, oh, I'm supporting you. And I was just like, whatever, like God's got my back. This is going to work. This is my thing. This is my purpose on this planet. I'm doing this and I'm not letting anything stand in the way. And so I ignored all the signs like bills and, for months, creditors were all over us. Rent, pretty important things in this physical world, I just completely ignored. And I was like in like this blissful state. Like it was one of the happiest times of my life, which is ironic. And I was like, gosh, I'm finally doing something purposeful and meaningful. And like how I spend my time is like wonderful. And I remember I'd go and meditate at this park across the street all the time. And there's just all the time, I would just have these meditations and I'd just be crying from joy. Like, oh, this is so good. Like, I've got it figured out yet. But my family, my young kids, my wife, the life like I had committed, that's a whole nother subject for another time. But it was coming crashing down. And, my wife one day was just like, hey, listen, like, look, like we're in the process. We've lost everything. Like we're close to being homeless. Like we might have to go live with your mom or live in a tent. And so that was like, you hear this dark night of the soul. It was one of the worst days of my life. And real quick, I'm paranoid. Bear with me. I just gotta make sure this is still recording. Because that's always, I've done so many of these things. It's always like the fear, like, oh, is this recording? You get done, you pour your heart out, and you're like, shit. So hopefully, I'm going to look at the audio. I think we're good. But it was like one of the hardest days of my life. Like, I went to the beach, and I remember sitting in this chair. I put these sunglasses on. I had my hat down so no one could see me. I just bawled. I mean, I was like just shaking for like hours, and I was so mad. I was like, this is BS. I swear YouTube flags me. But I followed the guidance. I, listened. I trusted. I had faith. What is the problem? God, you let me down. I was mad. A lot of name calling. And I knew that I was giving up the Onement. And it felt awful. I felt like a part of me was dying. I felt like, it was like I was in this world of like you could say like the spiritual world of like not having to do anything, not needing anything, not wanting anything, just coming from giving and love. And it wasn't working. I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do with that and sell enough T-shirts and pay my bills. So, don't get caught up in the message like, oh, see, you can't do the spiritual part of it. Look, we're living in the physical world. And like, I'm going to show you how I'm overcoming that. The Onement is part of that. And that's why I'm revisiting it. Yet at the time, like I thought trust and faith is where I was coming from. It was more just complete denial. Like I wasn't having the thoughts. I wasn't working through anything deep down. I knew it wasn't going to work. It couldn't work. I wasn't ready for it to work. There were some severe things, issues, mental thoughts that weren't being dealt with, that were being denied. And eventually that suppression came to the surface. And just like that for not dealing with anything. The Onement was over because I had a certain way it had to look, and this was going to go. And if it wasn't going to go this way, then, and so it was a lot of ego. It was a lot of like, I thought I was following guidance, but it was like, this is the way I think it should look. And it didn't work. So fast forward 10 years, and again, you can go read more about this, watch the video. But I had a conversation a couple months with my daughter. I was just giving her advice. She's a senior in high school, tough year during a pandemic. And she's really got her stuff together, really cool person. And I was giving her advice, and I, for some reason, started talking about the Onement. She didn't even really know that much about the Onement. And I was like, as I was going through it, she's like, oh, I didn't even really know about the Onement. You don't talk about it much. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a sore subject. But I was trying to give her advice on things I had learned from the Onement. And so she was like, hey, do you think you'll ever do the Onement again? And I was like, no, that's in the past. Like that's, I tried it, it didn't work. And so she was like, well, you never know, Dad. And I was like, it's like the thought, the possibility popped up again. I was like reunited with that feeling, and it was interesting, right? So a lot over the coming weeks, a lot of times it popped into my head, and this, I was like, meditation after meditation, it would come in, and then there was like, I'd hear thoughts in my head, like, I don't know if you hear thoughts, but think thoughts. It's kind of hard to describe hearing spirit, but it's kind of like, hey, like time doesn't exist. Just because it didn't work out last time doesn't mean it wasn't like your thing. And what do you know? Like, what'd you learn? What could be done differently? And the possibility really started growing. And it was just, I don't know, a few weeks ago, I was like, I'm ready to do it. And I, the things I learned was like, there's no like exact way to do it. I don't have to have the answers. I don't need to like have this vision of like, this is what it's going to be like. And then if the results don't show up that way, that I'm disappointed. It was kind of like just step by step, one step, the next step, take the steps. I bought the domain name again, available. I started the webpage. I wrote a blog post. I created a couple of videos. I created a video the other day called Dark to Light. Literally that night, the night before, it came to me right before I was going to go to bed. I typed it out in notes. I recorded it in the morning. I created it in the morning and launched it that afternoon. It's a couple-minute video, and I think it's pretty cool. I'll put a link to it. It's on my YouTube channel. And I'm just following things like that. This video, this podcast, this YouTube podcast, part of what I've been guided to do. Okay, so how will the Onement help people, and what will it teach? I feel like there's so many wonderful teachers out there. I'll share those teachers with people. I'm not going to just I'll talk a lot about A Course in Miracles because I do feel like it was that missing link for me, that like once I got past the like religion wordiness of it, that like the profoundness of it, like, it's, written by Jesus. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh yeah, allegedly or whatever. And as you really dive into it, it's like, no regular person wrote this. This is unbelievable. It's amazing. But I will talk a lot about A Course in Miracles. Yet I'm not going to just center on that. Like, I'm not going to like pigeonhole this to that. Spirit knows that like there's many paths to God, not just one. And I know a lot of people aren't ready for A Course in Miracles, or it doesn't speak to them. No problem. There'll be other things that are covered, that are discussed. But I encourage you to open your mind to that possibility of A Course in Miracles. So we'll share concepts. We'll share things that people have difficulties with. I'll do that through my own stories, other people's stories, through interviews, through all of this. And we just invite you to come join us. I'll help teach what love is. I'll help teach like how to like be in this world and not of it, how to not experience fear, how to, get unstuck in your life that you feel like it has to go this certain way because that's the way you were taught, that's the way you believe, and how do you get out of it? I'm in the process of doing that. I have a wonderful life. Like when I say get out of it, like people think like they're running away for something they don't like. That's the ironic thing for me. I have created the life I wanted. And then I got here and was like, gosh, I am so blessed. I have so much gratitude. I have a wonderful family, wonderful marriage, nice cars, nice house. And that might sound annoying to people, but everybody on this has a lot of those similar things in some form of another, like no comparison. And then it's like, what else? Something's missing. I'm still not as happy. Like, I still don't know who I am. I still don't feel like I'm as loving as I can be. I still don't feel like I'm experiencing my truth, right? Well, that's been my story. And so like through the Onement, we will bridge that gap together. What does it look like in human form to go from a body to like walking this earth without any fears, with complete love in a body for the time that we're still in the body, right? And how we break through what feels real and then experience true reality. It'll be fun. It'll be difficult at times. It will be worth it. And I don't know all the ways that's going to look. There's going to be tons of stuff I can't even imagine right now that I know is going to happen. We'll do it together, right? So, does it cost money to join the Onement? No. Like the Onement's an idea. The Onement's an experience. I want this to be an experiential thing. Because that's what oneness is like we're experiencing going back to like this place that we've never left, that we thought we have, and that we get to like experience that again, right? So that's free. And I don't know what the future will hold. There might be things that we might do that money is charged, and I think it'll make sense. But I've got caught up in the past creating spiritual businesses and like all these other things, and I don't want to even list those things because I don't want you to think I'm judging you. But for me, I know I want to have the experience of give all to all, and I don't want people to miss out on this stuff because of money. And, I know in the past, like I used to have this rationale that's like, okay, like people only value things they pay for. And I know we're going to do some really cool stuff that like people charge thousands of dollars for that I know is worth that thousands of dollars. And that's totally fine. I want this to be free as often as possible. And there's probably going to be times where we'll do things that like there's a lot of cost associated with on our end. And then there could be some expense with it to not, I don't know. Well, no need to even go through that right now. But what can people do to share and participate? So how do you participate right now? I know it's going to sound cheesy. Go to my website and opt in so you can get all the information I'm going to start putting out there. I'll have a weekly newsletter that you can opt into. And so like once a week, I'll send you like all the videos and like what the blog posts or whatever's been done. And then you can go read and watch whatever you want. Okay. The second thing is like, I have this Onement wall, and it is batty, cheesy. You just basically opt in and I put your name on the Onement wall. And guess what? Right now, when I'm recording this, what's today? February 4th, 2021. It's me. And then my daughter's like, I'll be on there. And then I put her on there, right? So there's like 2 people on the Onement wall. But I'd love it for you to you just put your name on there and like where you live. And over time, like it'd be cool if there's 10, 50, I don't know, 1,000, 100,000. It'll be what it'll be, not attached, whatever. But it's kind of your statement to be like, yes, I'm going to be part. I want to experience oneness, and I want to be a part of this movement. And instead of getting I could have said this earlier, but this just popped into my head. Like we get so wrapped up in like family, jobs, politics, rules, government, to-dos, goals, that it's like, I feel like in so many ways, there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but they're all distractions from like what's really possible and what we're really all seeking. And like what it all comes back to is each of us in our own minds individually, like no separation. So like, like I said before, I don't need to go change the world. I need to change my perception of the world that I think exists and that I'm causing. And when we get to do this together, there's just power in that. The Course calls it like mighty companions. Like it's a slippery slope. It's a, uphill walk, run, jog, right? Diving into your mind, into your feelings, into how you feel about yourself, how you think this world operates. And then having that challenged is difficult. It makes us feel safe to think we have it figured out. One of my biggest things I've realized recently is like, I don't know anything. Like I used to like coach people all this stuff and it'd be like, oh, this, I've written books. Like my big thing now is like, I don't know. Like we were watching The Undoing on HBO the other day, and I share this story because I think it's so pertinent. Have you ever watched a movie, and this is a criminal thriller, whodunit kind of thing, really good. Nicole Kidman and oh my gosh, what's the guy's name? I forget, but English actor Hugh. I'm so bad with names. It's unbelievable. Oh my gosh, I want to say Hugh Jackman, but Hugh Hefner, whatever. And everybody's like screaming right now, thinking like it's Hugh, blah blah blah. It'll pop into my head, but Hugh Grant. There we go. Hugh Grant, and it's like everybody could have done it. Okay, there was a murder, and I'm not going to give it away, no spoilers. But it was so funny. Like every episode, my wife and I would like analyze it and be like, oh, like this person, like, and we would make all these like factual statements that we believed based on like what we thought they were trying to portray, and like as if their characters were real, as if like we had it figured out. And like the first few episodes, it was like, oh, like we're analyzing the sun, and like, like you'd have to watch it like the attorneys and like who this and like, and I had this big aha, like after the third episode, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I do, what we all do in life. Like there's this movie going on of our life, and then we like, oh, here's what's going on with this character, and this is why they did this, and this is what this means, and then like it makes us feel good that we have it figured out. Like they couldn't fool us. Like we picked it. We know what they're doing. We know when they said those words, this is what they meant. We know when they like cut us out in traffic, like they were really trying to piss us off, whatever it may be. And that's one of the big things, like I feel like A Course in Miracles is teaching me, is like what I think I know, I don't know. And what I think I know is actually keeping me from what's real. And so like I just stay in that ego world of like thinking I have it all figured out, and I remain stuck. Okay. Illusion. I don't have the meaning of all the other stuff going on in this world. And the story behind it is I'm causing that. So just felt, I was just laughing at my wife and I when we kept saying, like at the final episode, we we're like, well, what do you think when he was like, a teenager and that bad thing happened to him, that this, and this, it caused him from this, and then that's why he did this. So he didn't do it, and we're like, I'm just like, this is insanity. Like we're literally spending 20 minutes talking about a movie, acting like we understand everything that went on for those characters. We knew the characters and like had the answers figured out. Oh my gosh, it's craziness. And we all do that in real life. We don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't say we. How you share this? Like it, comment, subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe to this podcast you're watching, YouTube channel. Share it with people. Join us on Instagram. The more you participate, comments, and like I'm trying and being very intentional about being authentic, transparent, and like coming from my heart and not worrying about like that I have it all figured out. And I invite you to do the same by participating, by liking, sharing, commenting. Okay. Go sign up for the 1 minute. Well, that'd be wonderful. What's the plan for the 1 minute? Final question. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's ever going to like catch on, that people are going to be like, oh yeah, I'm getting this. I know I feel like it's like kind of my dharma. I feel like I want to teach what I want to learn. I want to connect with other people who are in A Course in Miracles, are into oneness, are into love, and go down that rabbit hole together. I don't want anybody out there to kind of feel like I have, like that I'm alone, that like I feel, not that this has happened, this is my story again, but like feel judged. I live in this suburban world and have so many nice people in it and no judgment there. But like, if any of them watch this video, they'd be like, what the hell is he talking about? Oh my gosh. Like, and like, I just, in a lot of ways in my life, feel like I'm living this normal life, but underneath, like I'm not this normal guy, highly spiritual. I've started a oneness movement. I don't know. Is that normal? I don't know. But at times it's felt lonely, and I've caused that. There's no need for that. I've used every excuse in the book recently. The pandemic has provided a really good, excuse, but no more. So I'd love to hear from you. I would love for you to subscribe to my 1 minute newsletter, to the podcast, to YouTube, whatever it looks like, whatever you want to do, it's all good. And I'm going to let this flow, evolve into whatever it's going to be. I'm detached. I have a hunch there will be future t-shirts, but I don't think in the beginning I'm going to rely on that as like the way I'm going to support my family. And I'm just taking the steps on the journey. See what will happen. I did an Instagram post once that, like I said, love is my art. And I wholly believe that. So I'll do a lot of videos, and I'm letting this be like my art. I've always loved musicals. Like I'm avidly into sports, and I like golf too. Don't judge me, like put me in a box like, oh, he likes sports, he likes golf. I know what that means. You don't do that. But I love musicals, and I've realized like I have this artist in me that wants to get out. And I feel like I've used all these excuses like, oh, people think I'm weird, or I'm not talented, or I'm not capable, or no one will care, or whatever. I started watching this Apple TV show the other day called The Little Voice. You have it. I watched the first episode. Pretty good, about this singer who doesn't believe in herself, who has an unbelievable voice, but just like is having trouble overcoming fear. And like in that first episode, I could relate. Like, I know I have this art in me, and I have this expectation. I'm supposed to be the finished product when I begin. I don't know what this podcast, like any of this is going to look like. I'm going with it. And I know I'll look back someday like, oh my gosh, look at that. I've come a long way, but I am where I am now, and we all are, right? So I accept myself for that. I accept you for that. And again, we get to do this together. So the plan for the 1 minute is to have no plan and just to be in the moment. In whatever direction feels right, I will move in that direction and allow it. And whatever happens, happens. That feels pretty good. So that is the end of the first episode. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to put this on YouTube right away, but I'm going to wait until I have 2 or 3 episodes to put on a podcast. That seems to make sense. So people can listen to other ones if they so, be it and want to. And I want to hear from you. So reach out, join me on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. So much, much love. I have no idea how long this has been, and I'm just answering the questions that came to me in meditation. So I look forward to talking to you, being with you, connecting with you, participating in the art of oneness, in what's called the Onement, and one just semblance of possibility to experience our truth and who we are. So much love. I love you. Take care till next time. Bye-bye.